Good morning, patrons, and welcome to the Patron Show for October 2018. I'm back in the office. I've had 2 months of paternity off, and I feel the most creatively refreshed I felt in forever. We've also got a lot of stuff to cover in the show, so I'm just gonna kind of, I don't know, get right to it and get through this list of stuff and tell you what's going on, what's new, what's going to change, and a lot of stuff is new and it's going to change, so let's get right to it. First off, thank you all so much for being so cool about me taking 2 months away from the sort of editing work to be with my baby girl. It's been amazing. She's doing great. Mom's doing great. They're both upstairs. Working from home is rad. I was on email and doing stuff and planning for it those 2 months whenever she slept, which it turns out is quite a lot. But being away from editing has given me such a, I don't know, creative enema, and I just feel fantastic. So thank you all so much for that. Also, thank you for all the very nice words of support about my weight loss. You know, I've got like weird imposter syndrome about the whole thing because I just feel so relieved that I've lost a lot of the extra weight that I'd sort of put on, especially earlier this year when my depression kicked back in as well. It was kind of a little bit difficult. I've lost about 45 pounds since we did the Fallout doc. I'm gonna do a whole video about the ketogenic diet and how it helped me and how it worked for me and how maybe it might work for you, because some people were asking. I'll post it eventually in something probably, but it won't go up on Patreon, so just make sure you're following the Danny O'Dwyer YouTube channel. I'll put the link underneath here if you're interested in that at all. I'm also going to be doing a lot more of this on that channel, basically behind the scenes style videos, vlogs, and also you know, game related stuff. I put up a Spider-Man review yesterday, and it's all part of my trying to stretch my creative muscles when it comes to filmmaking and presenting, because it's a big part of some upcoming projects we're doing and I want to get better at it. So that's why the Patron Show is being done this way as well, and it's going to be done this way for the next little while. Esteban's super busy with our stuff and also other stuff. He's working on docs now, not just doing our behind the scenes stuff. So this is a good opportunity for me to hone my camera skills. If you're interested in any of that stuff, again, follow the Danny O'Dwyer YouTube channel. We're still gonna have all the Patreon exclusive behind the scenes stuff that you always got, but there's gonna be a different flavor of thing over there, so check it out. No Clip Podcast, the 2 Point Hospital theme hospital episode went down really well. We got a bunch of new subs on iTunes. People really liked it. I edited it during my downtime. I edited it during my paternity. I finished it because it was originally supposed to be out earlier, but my baby girl came 2 weeks early and kind of threw everything all over the place. But it went down really well, and I love what that podcast is becoming. And I just wanted to let you know that we have 2 episodes recording over the next couple of weeks. Very interesting stuff. One is a project people have been asking us to do since I started this whole thing, and another one is a sort of an interesting aspect of games culture that I've wanted to talk about for a long time. 2 great guests as well, so check those out in the next couple of weeks. Bonus level will be back. I wrote an episode about how much I fell in love with Bloodborne during my break. We have contacted From and talked to them about doing something. They are not interested. I'll get into that in the episode. They were very kind and lovely about the whole thing, but it's just not their corporate culture to open up about stuff. So that's not going to stop me doing a video about the game though. So there'll be an episode of Bonus Level all about that pretty soon. Just because I'm doing the vlogs doesn't mean that sort of stuff's not going to get done. Merchandise, Blake Stevenson, who made our No Clip Year 1 shirt, which I probably should have worn today. It's not this one, it's the one with the televisional VHS tapes on it. He's designed us a bunch more stuff. We have a Year 2 shirt coming out, which is all sort of Atari cartridge, old 80s style retro looking thing, which has all the docs that we made in the second year of No Clip, all the way from The Witcher up to Dream Daddy. So that's going to be on the store pretty soon. We've also heard your shouts for hoodies. We are finally doing a hoodie. Blake also created a sort of branded logo for us, which we're going to put on a hoodie and maybe a shirt. And then I'm also bouncing around the idea of what other hoodie to do. Maybe one with the No Clip Year 1 logo on it, or maybe one with just the pure No Clip logo on it. I probably wouldn't mind some feedback on that. Let me know what you think we should do there. I never put anything on the store without having checked for the quality myself, so there's a bunch of the merch arriving this week, hopefully. It's Thursday now, so maybe it might end up being next week. And then I'm gonna pull the trigger on which versions we're gonna do, because you can get the hoodies with like zip hoodies, but they're hard to put the logo on, and then there's the big hoodies, and then some have pouches and some don't, and then obviously we try and get the most cost-effective to quality sort of ratio going as well. If you have any preferences on that sort of stuff, let us know in the comments, but expect the t-shirt and hoodie to be up on the store in the next 2 weeks anyway, maybe next week, depending on how quickly those merch examples arrive here. The next doc you will see on NoClip is the Fallout Shelter / Blades doc, which again, I was supposed to get edited before Baby came. She came early, so I've got a little bit of it done, but I'm aiming to get it out I've decided to put it up October 1st, because it's a Monday. You know, I don't like putting docs in at the end of the month, because then people get double billed if they don't know that we bill on the 1st of every month regardless of when they sign up. So I'm gonna try and get that up for October 1st. Really fast. It's the last of our Bethesda documentaries. It's all about the sort of Montreal studio and also the original idea that Todd Howard had for the game. In fact, here's a clip.
So the iPhone comes out, what, 07? And we had a couple designs. Like, hey, we should do an iPhone game. We had a couple Fallout. We had at least 2 good Fallout designs. And Shelter was one of them. And we had been doing Fallout 3 and done this commercial. If you go back and look at the trailer for Fallout 3.
Okay, which one? The one that starts with the TV?
Yeah, go watch
the pull back from the, yeah, all right.
You'll know exactly when you see it. Okay. So it pulls back and it says, hey, life in the vault, and it pulls back and there's Fallout Shelter.
Right.
Talking about 2008. There's Fallout Shelter, because that was, hey, that would be, that right there, that's the game. We kind of let it sit. And we kept bringing it up like, hey, we should do an iPhone game. This would be really fun. You get a lot of pitches from other mobile companies. We'd be like, no, I have the pitch. It's like a Little Computer People meets The Sims meets Fallout, and you breed them and you can do experiments. And, you know, it's one of those games where, like, once you see the 10-second pitch, like, it almost, like, I got it.
All right, on to the big stuff. So I've had a lot of time to step away from NoClip and think about what we're doing, to think about the ways in which we can expand, both in, you know, editors and presenters, and, you know, not team size creatively, the new types of projects we can work on, the blind spots we've not done yet, and in terms of funding and subscribers and all that sort of stuff as well. We've never really done the second pitch for NoClip. We did one at the start of the whole project. At year 2, I did it, or at the end of year 1, I did a sort of a summary of what we had done, but I didn't really ask people. We're going to be asking people. In October, there is a pretty significant sort of pledge drive for NoClip coming down the pipeline. We've gone from 0 to 330,000 subscribers, almost 1/3 of a million people now sub to our channel in just under 2 years, which is pretty remarkable growth, especially considering we've only posted like 40 public videos on that channel, and some of them haven't done crazy numbers either. So it's pretty good. A lot of it's driven by our big docs, which is the constant balancing act that I have of doing smaller stuff along with the big stuff, to make sure we're doing the work that we can do while also growing a bit as well. So a big part is going to try and convert some of those subscribers into patrons, and then get some people who have been on the fence maybe, or who thought about it 2 years ago and have now since watched, you know, a dozen hours of free docs and might be like, yeah, I should chuck in a couple of bucks. But we're not just asking for the sake of asking. I'm going to be asking alongside some new goals for the company, both in terms of, I guess, funding goals that are on Patreon. You can actually see them on the NoClip Patreon homepage right now, which align with some new ideas for projects that I want to do. And before the trailer's out, I want to talk to you about some of those ideas for different types of docs and better docs that I've had over the past couple of weeks. The first one is embedded docs. We have had multiple offers from studios about embedding in their studio for a long period of time. Some of these are, you know, games that will be announced soon or have been announced. Some of these are games which won't be announced for years. We've been approached by people about doing this sort of long form, long-term documentary style stuff, which is real documentary filmmaking, right? Obviously that is a pretty significant financial commitment as opposed to flying to a studio for 2 days and then coming back, which is the production cycle of a no-clip video, which is how we're able to fund so many docs every single year, because we're smart about production and how much it costs. So embedded docs is the type of thing where if we get a bit more than I can pay somebody, or I can go myself to, or we can supply the studios with equipment to document a lot of this stuff over a long period of time. I can't really say anything more than that because a lot of this stuff is still in negotiation or up in the air, and I'm still not sure if we can pull it off. But one of the most important things in October is trying to get to a level where we can really say, okay, we have this many patrons now, we have this much funding coming in, we're gonna cut off this slice of the month and it's gonna go into this sort of stuff, and hopefully at the end, in a couple of years or a year, we'll have some really interesting footage that we can turn into something truly compelling that no-clip's never done before. The next one is something people have been asking us to do forever, which is historical docs. Historical videos and retrospective videos on YouTube are really, really popular. Some of my favorite video game YouTuber people do these things all the time. For us to do them with the level of production and quality we do would cost more than the current projects we do. Again, this is about previously we would fly to one location and film people and get out. Sometimes, you know, that place was very far and cost us more than usual, like Japan and Poland come to mind. We stayed a long time with those. Basically, days cost money. Days cost day rate for anyone I hire. They cost, you know, Airbnb, they cost editing days, coloring days, all that sort of stuff. The longer a project is, the more it costs. And our production day cost is significantly higher than our regular day cost. With historical docs, people are generally spread out. You've got somebody who moved to this side of the country, this person who moved here, maybe they're in the same state, but they're in different cities, which requires an extra travel day. So the reason I've not pulled the trigger on any historical stuff is that simply it cranks the production cost up to a level that makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. I have a sort of a historical style documentary that I'm going to be filming in October. The way I'm getting around some of these problems is that I'm going to be filming some of it myself using this camera, traveling around, making it a sort of a travel doc style thing. I'll get into it in a little bit. So that's gonna help maybe get us into that, but I still have to have days where I fly Jeremy in to do a bunch of the work because he makes everything look amazing. He's a huge asset to us here at NoClip in both his ability to film incredible footage, help with me on the live production stuff, and also color it so it looks fantastic. So ultimately, what I would want more than anything else is to have Jeremy alongside me all the time for these productions. Maybe have somebody else help as well, maybe have, you know, external people filming some bits and bobs around that we can put into the production as well. So that's all historical stuff. If we get to a certain level of funding, we're gonna really get into that. The next one is we'd like to upgrade some of this equipment. My camera here is doing pretty good, the A7S II. Jeremy's doesn't even shoot in 4K. He makes it look amazing, but it's a relatively old camera. I guess it's not that old. I mean, Canon C100's. It's still pretty pricey, but we'd love to get new glass, we'd love to get new cameras, we'd love to be able to start future-proofing a lot of this stuff. The other thing we want to do is we want to work on projects that we can maybe get on Netflix and Amazon. To do that, we're going to have to start mastering in 4K because that's a requirement that they have. Well, actually Netflix and Amazon, you can put fucking anything up on Amazon. So better looking docs, if we can get a new camera, get some really good stuff, that would be a massive help. And then the last funding goal is sort of the crazy, you know, pie in the sky funding goal, which is about twice as much as we have now, which I can't see us ever hitting, but it would be amazing. And if we did that, then that would really change NoClip entirely. Our burn rate is pretty good. Our day, in terms of the budget, I'm really satisfied with NoClip. I put a certain amount in a kitty, in a sort of in a rainy day fund, which helps with some of the bigger projects. I have, you know, enough money to pay Esteban and Jeremy, and, you know, pay for our flights and accommodation, and kind of do any project we want. We don't, you know, one of the things I said at the start when we launched was if we reached a certain amount, we'd be able to do international docs. We've done loads of international docs right now. We've been to Europe three times. We've been to Asia. We've even been to Canada. I want to talk about international. We've even funded external people to do it. The Dream Daddy doc costs a lot of money, right? Because I'm not doing it, so I have to hire people to edit and shoot that one and all that. So being able to have that funding has really helped us. If we got to that pie in the sky level, it would change what we're doing. It would mean that I could build a team and invest in multiple docs and have way more documentaries coming down the pipeline. The Dream Daddy doc was an experiment in this, whether I could offload a lot of the creative work to other people. I was basically not involved in the edit or the production of that. We'd feedback cycles, so I gave feedback on the edit, but Jeremy edited the whole thing. Jeremy and Alana produced the whole thing. She presented and set the whole thing up. I did not talk to anyone at the Dream. I talked to Vernon briefly, but I didn't talk to anyone else about it. She set it up, and it worked out really good. It was a real good proof of concept. I learned some things that I can sort of change. Jeremy got to work on his first sort of full no-clip documentary edit, did a smashing job with it. And ultimately that's where I see our future is hiring people to do a lot of this work, where I'm not editing absolutely everything, but I'm in a position where I have creative oversight. I'm not sure if that seems mean. Some sort of creative influence over that sort of stuff and guiding it towards the level of quality and the type of storytelling that we try and achieve here at NoClip. So those are the goals we're going to be pushing towards, and we're going to be acting on it pretty soon. Let's talk about the projects that are coming in 2018. So, we have 3 months left of the year. It's going to be a busy 3 months. We're going to have a lot of stuff going up. I don't have everything figured out quite yet. I have like a bunch of like a half dozen possible projects we can do, and I have been waiting to see where the leaves are falling before I decide which ones I want to sweep up. That's not a very good metaphor. Watching the ideas fall from the sky and trying to pluck the ones that I want. One of those is a possible big. I do want to get one more big game done this year if I can help it. We haven't confirmed anything yet. There's a couple of possibilities, but nothing to announce on that front yet. I do want to get one of these longer form documentary style stuff going. We have an idea for one of those that might come to fruition. I think it probably will. You will know about that before the year is out, but again, I can't talk about specifics yet. And then the other one that we're filming in October, I'm going to be a little bit coy about. Some of you have probably figured out that I wanted to do something on this game for a while. I mean, Larry's a bit of a giveaway. I've wanted to do something on this game for a while, but let's say the studio is not necessarily answering our emails, so I decided to do something anyway. So for October we're going to be filming, I talked about this back, I think it was in January. I said I had a project called Project Lambda, which is actually, I believe now, a legitimate Half-Life mod somebody's making, so I'm gonna have to rename that. So I wanted to do something on Half-Life, and this kind of bleeds into the, longer form, distributed, historical doc stuff that I do want to get us doing more of. But this is also different in that we're not talking to people who worked on the game. So I have this entirely different concept for how I think we can do a documentary on this game, which is essentially a way to celebrate the game, because the 20th anniversary of Half-Life is coming up in November, and I could not run a media company based around games and have that pass, because I'm not sure if anyone's going to do anything for it. And I think Half-Life fans deserve to have some sort of celebratory piece of video or anything to remember the effect that first Half-Life game had on them. It had a massive effect on me. It's maybe my favorite game of all time. It's first or second. It probably is first. I absolutely adore the first Half-Life. So we're doing something. It's a multi-city documentary. I'm going to be traveling for most of the second half of October. I'm going to have a home base somewhere in Texas while I'm doing this for 2 weeks. We have friends who live there. My wife and baby are coming. They're going to be with the friends, and I'm going to be using that as a way of flying around to a bunch of cities with this camera, flying Jeremy in for some of the stuff, and interviewing a bunch of really cool people who did not work on the game about the game. I don't want to say anything more than that right now, because we're still we're planning this whole thing. Who knows if it develops, if we can get some doors open that we couldn't before. I'm not really willing to talk about it publicly yet, so you know, we've talked about the Project Lambda in some sort of vague terms before. Maybe keep doing that if you want, but don't start spamming me and tweeting about the fact that we're doing this quite yet. But we are definitely, I have booked the flights, I have a half dozen interviews set up, and I can't wait. It's going to be the most exciting thing that I've probably ever worked on. I'm really excited about it. The idea is to have that whole thing filmed in October and to try and get it out for the Half-Life 1 anniversary, which I always get the second and first games mixed up. I think it was 19th of November, 16th maybe? 19th, yeah, November 19th. So I'm going to try and get it up by November 19th. If not, we'll definitely have a trailer up by then. But it's going to be a sort of whirlwind tour of what it is to be a Half-Life fan and the influence that that game has had that can still be felt today, and how it influenced the first-person genre in the 20 intervening years. And that's pretty much it for today. If you have any questions, put them in the comments below. If you have any feedback on any of that stuff, put them in the comments below. I will do a follow-up Q&A video next week. That's going to be the format from now on for a little bit. If you're interested in the vlog style stuff, go check out the Danny O'Dwyer YouTube channel. I'm going to be posting a bunch more stuff there. Those of you in the $20 patron tier, we'll have an editing live stream, maybe today actually. If not, then next week. I'm actually going to New York tomorrow for something cool, to check in on some old friends. I'm going to be bringing this camera, so that's actually going to be on the Danny O'Dwyer YouTube channel as well. Yeah, go subscribe over there, you'll see all that stuff. And that's it. I gotta go edit the Fallout Shelter Blades documentary. Gotta go finish that thing up. Thank you so much for your support. The most exciting month in no-clip history, I think, is coming up next month. We're gonna need your voices and tweets and endorsements when we do our big funding push next month. And I also look forward to sharing more about the exciting projects we've coming in 2018 and beyond. We actually have a lot of stuff for 2019 already planned, including a bunch of international stuff, but I'm not putting the cart before the horse. We'll get to that sort of stuff eventually. All right, I'm done. Thank you so much for hanging out. Questions in the comments below. Talk to you soon.